We are joined now in the media center by Dale Earnhardt Jr., driver of the number 88 Nationwide Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Dale, you broke out the broom here last year, sweeping the races. Big moments for your season. What's it going to take for you to repeat that feat this year?
Well, we won those two races by having some great pit strategy, and Steve got real aggressive on us. His pit calls, and I think that's definitely going to be what's going to put you in position to win. You kind of call this race in reverse. The tire's pretty tough here and durable, so there's not a whole lot of fall off, and you can call the race sort of like a road course in reverse, and put yourself up toward the front, and like we did last year, and then it makes it pretty difficult to get around you if you got a good car, So we were able to pass some guys that tried to get more aggressive than we were, but it just everything's kind of got to fall in the right place and allow you to make those choices. And it worked out, great for us last year. We also had a fast car, ran pretty well, but there were about 8 of us, I think, in either one of those races that could have won.
We'll open up the floor to questions, and we'll start here with Claire B., and then move to Bob, and then to Zach.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Jeff Gordon said the bump in the middle of the tunnel turn is going to make the race interesting. And when I asked Joey Logano about if you guys could adapt or what that would mean, he said he's worried his car won't make it through the race. What were you experiencing there, and what are your thoughts about it?
It's they've had a real hard winter, and the track really changes throughout the temperature, changes throughout the year, and it's just really destroyed the tunnel. They did make some cosmetic changes to the tunnel as far as entering and exiting, but we were assured by Brandon and the guys here that is not what's happened to create the problem on the surface of the racetrack. So it just was a really, really difficult winter, and we did have some bumps through there last year, and they have just gotten more severe. So I think that they're going to take some time in between the events here this weekend and in August to fix that. And having talked to them today, I feel like that they understand that while we can get through this weekend with what's back there right now, it's probably not in their best interest to leave it as is, because it'll continue to get worse. And I don't think that we as we can get our race cars through there if it gets much worse than it is. So I'm glad they're going to work on it, and we can work on our cars and get it a little bit better. It was pretty wild. I went through there the first time this morning and had no idea it was back there, and luckily I didn't go through there with a whole lot of confidence in the first place or speed, because that was wild. We worked on the car, and we can do things to make the ride quality better, but there's only so much we can do. And it's just very severe bumps, and Brandon and those guys are aware, and they're looking forward to improving it and fixing it. So I think everything's going to work out. I would be worried had they not been aware of it and not had any interest in fixing it. But they are. Brandon does a great job with this place. I've gotten to know him really well over the last couple of years, and he's very he listens to the drivers, the competitors. He listens to the series officials and so forth, and really takes what everybody has to heart. And he just wants to have a good facility people enjoy coming to, whether you're a driver or a fan or what have you. So I'm happy that they're going to tune on it. Whatever they do, anything to improve it. I just think over time, another hard winter, and it's just going to be a little bit too much.
But are you worried your car?
I don't know that my car. I don't think that we're going to have any failures in the car it's just really, really harsh. There's a line between character and just a bad racetrack, and this is getting close to that line. So I definitely like a bump or two in the corner, and I think that bumps and character in a racetrack, as far as how the surface is grip-wise, or whether it eats the tires up or what have you, I love that stuff, and you like your tracks to have the character, but that's just a little bit extreme right there.
Okay, we're going to go to Bob, over to Zach, and then back over here.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. When the whole drivers' council meeting was going down last week, it seemed that NASCAR was kind of downplaying it, but we're hearing from drivers that it was great and very productive.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, did you get any feeling that NASCAR was reluctant to do it, and is there any reason to think that this is a bad idea?
No. I don't know why anybody would think that was a bad idea for the drivers in NASCAR to get together and communicate. And I think that the NASCAR and the drivers didn't think it was a much of a topic. I mean, we've met before in various situations, and it's just been a little more informal. And things always change, improve, evolve, and this is just kind of a more organized way for us to get in a room and have conversation about everything on the table. And I think it's awesome because you got all the guys in there that you got all the NASCAR guys in there that you want to talk to, that you want 5 minutes with. You got a lot of great race car drivers in there with a lot of great ideas and opinions, and everybody's in the room to work together, and everybody wants the same thing, So we all want to have a healthy sport. We all want the racing as good as it can be and safe as it can be. And we talk about it. We talk about everything, and we talk about the hot button topics, and we talk about everything as far as what we think about particular tracks. Just all kinds of stuff gets talked about in there. But it's great because I guess the thing is we never really before could organize it. You couldn't get all the drivers in the same place at one time. You couldn't get everybody to organize to spend an hour or two and sit down and really focus on these topics and really discuss it in a good place. And so it's got so much opportunity to be something that can really benefit the sport. And so and NASCAR came to the drivers and asked us to put it together. And so the drivers sort of put it together, and now we organize the meetings together, and it's good. It's going to be good.
Next to Zach, and then back over here.
Zach Sterniol with the Pocono Record. Obviously, you come off the sweep here last year, but Hendrick Motorsports has won each of the last 5 races here. How do you think that streak can continue this weekend?
Well, we got 4 fast cars, and this is a horsepower racetrack, and where engines can make a difference. And I feel like that over the last several years, we've had one of the best engine programs in the sport. And so I think that we just got really good stuff. So that that your car really, really shines here, whereas driver's a little bit of a factor, or a lot of a factor, especially on restarts and trying to work that difficult air when you're behind somebody and make a pass and set it up on the particular part of the racetrack where it'll happen. But the car really shines here, and we got some of the best equipment in the garage.
Right over here.
Jesse Doherty from Philadelphia Inquirer. Only 2 drivers have ever won 3 straight here. Just what makes that so difficult to do?
It's just difficult to win one. Difficult to win, period. And there's so much competition in this series now that, and like I say, the track, it's, once you sort of, that the way we call the races here with the strategy, sort of calling the races backwards like a road course, that's just something we don't do enough of, where I don't know how the crew chief feels, but I feel like it's not a strategy we are used to using every week. So is it a strategy that we can perform to perfection when called upon to do it? when you come to a place like this. So you just hope your guy's up on the pit box and he's got that vision and sees beyond what's out there on the racetrack, and so he can make that call that's going to really parlay you into the position you want to be 50 laps from now, right? So it's just really difficult to win here or anywhere, but there's a lot of tough competition out there. And this place is, I won't say it's hard to pass here because you can get around guys and race, and I do enjoy racing here. But when you get a fast guy in front of you, and it's difficult to find a flaw, and sort of take advantage of that weakness, because you get a guy with good speed in front of you, he's gonna be hard to get to.
Okay, we're gonna go next to Bill, then to Mike, then to Jim, and then back to Jeff.
Bill Fleischman, Philly Daily News. You worked so well with Steve Letarte. How is your relationship with Greg, and how is he different from Steve?
Yeah, he's not the jokester Steve was. I mean, in the lounge, the atmosphere in the lounge is a lot more business, less jokes. Let's talk about family and what happened last week and what you're going to do Monday, stuff like that. I mean, me and Steve had became best friends, and so we everything, everything's on the table as far as conversation. Now, I don't know Greg well enough, but we're working on our relationship, and definitely we have a lot of trust in each other, and the relationship will continue to get better the more we work together. But I don't want to really. I don't want to sit there and just shoot the crap with him and I guess distract him from what he's trying to do. I want to give him every opportunity to brainstorm on the race car. He's an engineer. He's got that engineer mind, and I want him to work it. And so I just sort of sit back and make myself available to anything he needs to know from me. But, I mean, he's got a sense of humor, don't get me wrong. But, it's all business. We understand, and I think he takes this super, super serious. This is his dream come true, to be able to crew chief in the Cup Series. And I want to give him every opportunity to be successful. And us as a team, we're in a good position, winning races, running well. We don't want to take a step back. So it's really, we're just really all business right now for the time being. We win some more races, we can get a little more jovial, but till then, we need to win some more races.
Go to Mike, and then to Jim.
Mike Embry, USA Today. Dale, I'm guessing the topic of race schedules and tracks where you might race might come up in some of these drivers' meetings. What's your view on that? Would you make changes in the schedule?
I don't know if that's the kind of stuff that we'll talk about. I don't think that the driver's opinion weighs in on the schedule. I think that's NASCAR's, the owners of the tracks and the networks. They're going to dictate the schedule. As much as drivers have opinions on them, and I have my own, I don't expect to be in that conversation.
Go to Jim, and then we'll finish up with Jeff.
Jim Uttershaw, Observer. This is kind of another question about Greg. Obviously, having worked for you and at Junior Motorsports, he's certainly accustomed to the attention that everything you do kind of has in NASCAR. I just wondered, a third of the way through the season, how do you think he's dealt with the enormous expectations of your fans, and how, in general, and this is probably true for most drivers, the critique of every move and strategy decision that's made during the season?
I tried to tell him about it, but I think he's been insulated somehow so far, whether it's staying off social media, because Letarte was very active on Twitter and Greg isn't. Greg sort of keeps himself in his little world and protects what's important to him, so I don't think that he has. I don't think he has been. I don't think he's seen it just yet. And I've tried to tell him. What were we doing last week? Oh, speeding on pit road. We were. I was like, man, I can't. I can't be that aggressive coming on the pit road, because they were telling me during the week. Man, last time you run here, you could have been a little bit better, and they were sending me dartfish and all this stuff so I could look at what other guys were doing, and ended up pushing the envelope and getting bit. And I said, I can't do that because I get tore up on social media. And just by everyone in general, when I make a mistake, when I missed my pit stall in the Daytona 500 that year, I mean, it took 2 years for people to quit talking about that. It did. I still hear about it. Like, do you want to miss your pit stall? I mean, that was 4 years ago. So I joke with him about it, but and he seems to look at me. He seems to just like stare right through me like he has no idea what I'm talking about. So I don't think that he has been affected by it at all yet. Certainly, yeah. I mean, I want him focused on whatever, the car and what's important to him. He's definitely got his mind on the right things.
Okay, Jeff, and then we're going to finish up right there with Zach, right over there.
Jeff Wackerlin, MRN. Looking ahead to next week at Michigan, what do you anticipate with the new rules package and the recent repave there? It's like 3 years old.
Yeah. Hopefully it's aging and widening out a little bit. I think the rules package, I don't know that the race is going to be a whole lot different. We'll be in the gas maybe just a little bit more. We're in the gas pretty hard there already. Running some pretty fast laps. But I think it's a great track. I'm just looking forward to it aging and widening out. As that happens, as the track sort of loses grip, like this particular track here, we're on the same tire that we've been running since they paved this place, and the speed is now a second slower than when it was repaved. So when you start seeing that kind of speed loss in the surface alone, you can start looking at options with tires. Get a little softer tire, bring the speed back up maybe for the first lap, but the 10th lap, you're going to have some fall off. You're going to have some guys' cars start handling better or worse. And so hopefully we'll start seeing some of that age in the surface at Michigan, and then they can start thinking about things where they can improve the tire, and which would in turn change how the race is seen. So I love the racetrack. It is, It's a good. Before they paved it, man, we were running down next to the apron against the wall. That is all you can ask for when you're talking racetracks and what drivers like about them. Being able to have options in the corners, run different grooves, and that place, hasn't really had a lot of options. The groove hasn't been very wide since it repaved it, but it's starting to show that. When we went there and tire tested, I think a year or two ago, I was using a bunch of different lanes in turn 3, so the potential is coming, and that place is just going to continue to get better.
Zach?
Zach Tanzaretti, Webbings Racing. A lot of drivers, some drivers, they compare this to a road course. I saw that you did great at Sonoma last year just when you started winning here. Do you compare this with the road course with the different turns and the shifting? Does that compare at all?
Not really, because the speeds are so high in the corners here. I equate road courses or compare road courses to like low-speed corners, 90 degrees, stop, turn, go. This is very, we're going through the corners very fast here. You do handle differently in all 3 corners, and you want to handle the best in turn 3 because the next straightaway is so long. So if you can get out of that corner really well or better than the next guy, you got a great passing opportunity on that straightaway. So you got to give a little bit up down here to do that. It's never going to be perfect in all 3 corners. One's going to be great, and then the others you got to sort of deal with some problems or some little small issues, and so that's very similar to road course racing. You'll get the car really great in the rights or be bad in the lefts, and you sort of got to have a compromise somewhere. Maybe the slow turn 11 at Sonoma is not good, and there's no forward bite, and you got to work on that, but that hurts some of the faster corners. So it's very similar in that respect for sure. But just as a driver, I'm not much of a road racer, so I'm probably the worst guy to ask in that regard. But we got kind of lucky. Had a great car. If we run third at Sonoma, it's a winning car right there.
Dale, good luck this
Thank
weekend.
you guys.
Thanks.
Did everybody see Mike Davis is here? I want y'all to make sure y'all say hey to Mike.